Arguably the most important part of a watch is the dial and the hands. Those are the things that you're looking at constantly when you are telling the time. Obviously the case matters a lot. You want a comfortable case, you want a case that looks good. However, it's the dial and those hands that you are looking at all the time when you are telling time. And when you're looking at that dial, you want something that's legible, and sometimes you want something that is special, something that is different, something that makes you smile every time you look at it. Today we're taking a look at a brand called Selten. I've actually featured one of their watches here on my channel in the past that had a meteorite dial, beautiful handset that was really a very custom handset to this watch. And today, of course, no difference. This gets a very special dial. It's 3 layers and it gets a really beautiful handset. I'm very excited to show you guys this watch. It's from Selten and it's called their Salvage collection. Let's flip the camera and take a look at the Selten Salvage series with a Terrarium dial. The first Selten that I featured here on my channel had a meteorite dial. It had really special hands. The overall design of the watch was excellent. This also gets a really interesting design, specifically the dial, which takes a lot of effort to make. And I'm going to go through sort of the design behind this dial in just a few seconds. But in general, a really nice package is what they put together for a really good price. This is a bronze watch, so the case is bronze, the case back is in stainless steel, has a really nice engraving on the back. I'll do close-ups of that so you can see. It has a screwed-in case back, a screwed-in crown, all the specs that you come to expect from a micro brand dive watch. It gets 200 meters of water resistance, and it has a rotating bezel. That rotating bezel, I believe, is not Lume, but we will do a Lume shot towards the end. It gets a ceramic insert, and it is unidirectional, 120 clicks. Sounds really good, feels really nice. It's powered by a Miyota Movement. It's a 9000 series, the 9039. You don't have a date on here, so obviously you don't have a ghost date position. But what is really special about this watch is the dial and the hands. The hands are custom. They are partially skeletonized. I don't really have a word to sort of describe them. However, they are very organic. They kind of match the indices. The indices here, this is a sandwich dial. Obviously, the pattern here is very unique. They're created by an artist. So each dial is hand patinaed by an artist in the Selten studios, which is pretty awesome. This is a 3-layer dial. So there's a base plate. That base plate, I think, is made out of brass. That gets the lume, so there is lume applied to that base plate. So that's how a sandwich dial works. Normally there is 2 layers. There's a top layer, which is basically the dial, and then below that there is a plate where the lume is applied, and then obviously when the lume is glowing, you could see that glowing from that base plate, which looks great. But this gets an extra layer. So you have that layer on the bottom, then you have the layer that is that dial, essentially the pattern that you're looking at, that green mossy color that looks beautiful. And I think they call this the Terrarium because it looks like a little bit of a terrarium. They make a few different colors. There's blues, there's reds, it's like there's a bunch of different colors. But another element to this dial that may not be very obvious is that there is a sapphire layer. So this is actually a sapphire dial. It's cut out. There are indices printed on that dial. Then below that you have that patinaed dial, and then below that you have that base plate with the lume. So 3 layers going into this watch. Those hands are in a bronze color, and I have to say they are awesome. They look very organic, but modern at the same time. Really goes well with the case. And obviously the point here is that the dial is already patinaed. Now it's your turn. Now you go and actually patina the case because this is a bronze watch. You patina the case yourself. You also get a bronze buckle on here. It is not signed. Not sure why they didn't sign it, but it is a milled buckle. Very, very solid, very much matching the case, which makes a lot of sense. The crown is signed as well with the Selten logo. The dial is signed with the Selten logo, and it just says automatic 200 meters. I believe that is printed directly onto both the logo and that automatic 200 meters on that sapphire portion of the dial. So very, very cool. Very quickly, let me do some measurements. I'm going to measure it right at the case at 38.4 millimeters. So it's around, I think it wears like a 39 millimeter watch. So There you go, 39 millimeters basically. You have a very large crown, very, very grippy, 7.4 millimeters. And then of course the lug to lug on here is just about 46.9 millimeters, so almost 47 millimeters is what I am measuring, somewhere in that neighborhood. Thickness with that box sapphire crystal is around 13.4 millimeters, 13.3 millimeters. It is raised off of the case and boxed and domed, so obviously a really nice sapphire crystal on this watch. So very quickly, I'm going to throw it on my wrist. We'll talk about price, and we will do a lume shot. I'm not sure how the lume is on this watch. You do have old radium lume, so that sort of patinaed color, that's what they went with. Obviously that goes really well with the case, with the dial. I think they made a good decision. The hands, obviously, again, in that gold tone. It's very legible also, so I do want to mention that. It's actually pretty legible considering you have all of these sort of muted, earthy tones, which I think work well together. Very quickly, on my wrist today, I have on a G-Shock. This is a recent release from G-Shock. It is a smartwatch, essentially. It's their Square that has the heart rate monitor and all of this. I actually got this. I purchased this from my friend Sam over at Casual Watch Reviews. I'll be doing a review of this watch on my channel coming in the next few weeks. I'm actually going to be wearing this on vacation, so there you go. So there it is on my 7.5 inch wrist. It's around a 39 millimeter watch, 13 millimeters thick, around 47 millimeters lug to lug. Really, really nice on my 7.5 inch wrist. I think it looks great. I think they make watches that look a lot more expensive than they actually are because of the details, especially their dials. They put a lot of work into their dials, and it shows. I think this dial looks phenomenal, especially considering the price. Now the price on this is $549. I think you're getting a lot of watch for that money. You are getting a Miyota 9039, which is a dateless version of the 9015. Really great movement, ceramic bezel, but I think a lot of the money goes into that dial, those hands, really special and very out of the ordinary. Lume is excellent on this watch. I did not know that the bezel was lumed. Actually, the first 15 minutes fully lumed. Everything else really nicely and brightly lumed. The sandwich portion really brightly lumed. The hands are brightly lumed. The only thing that I would complain about this watch or on this watch is the fact that the second hand is not lumed. I like to see that my watches are working in the dark, so that is obviously a personal thing, but I would like to see a little bit of lume on the second hand. Other than that, I think this looks really good, especially for old radium. So they are obviously applying a lot of lume to the dial, to the indices, and of course to the hands and the bezel. So lots of lume here, cannot complain, and hangs on really, really long. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think of this watch down in the comment section below. I really like Selten watches. I think this is their second watch, or at least the second watch that I have featured here on my channel. They make watches that look a lot more expensive than they actually are. That has a lot to do with their dials. They put a lot of money into the dials, a lot of thought and effort into the hands and dial setup, and it really does show. This is something different, something special, and obviously not something that you see very often from other watch brands. Really, really cool, and pairing it with a bronze case I think makes a lot of sense. $549 seems very reasonable. Tell me what you guys think down in the comment section below. What do you think of this watch? What do you think of Selten? I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It's super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. I will catch you guys in the next video.